Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, no matter where you're from. If you're watching this live stream, that means you're either on YouTube, you're on Facebook, or you're on LinkedIn, which is absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, as some of you know, I do interviews, ongoing interviews most weeks for Numi, where we do talk about some of the product experiences from Numi. Today, this interview is not about Numi. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off first, talking a little bit about that, but we're going to have a recording of this going into a platform, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But we'll crop off the start. So if you're online right now, I love the fact that we get to the head with the fact and the heart with the story, and we get right around the world. Do me a favor, type in the chat where you're watching us from. And for those of you that normally watch the weekly Numi interviews that I do, you'll note that I always say, type in the chat, pick me please, and then someone goes into the draw for a free bottle of product. Now, my guest today, Sharon, was a witness that I just scrolled through to pick a random winner from last week. And just so you know, Anna Stewart, I'm not sure where you're based, but I can see you. Anna Stewart, you are the lucky winner. If you could reach out to me directly, that would be great. And I'll get a bottle of product sent out to you as a thank you for being on the last interview and typing in pick me, please. Having said that, I'm going to delete that from this session because today isn't, as I said, about that. For those of you who don't know, my background is I'm one of the founding field advisory board members of a company called Numi, and we have a nanotechnology breakthrough, which is like nothing else in the world. I found the investors for that 6 years ago and then launched in home-based business 2.5 years later. There's 150,000 members across 67 countries going berserk. With that in mind, it has blessed my life. And this is what this interview is actually related to, because my life has been totally blessed financially by this amazing company and the industry of home-based business. And so two things. Today's interview is going to talk about, which I'll recap again in a second, the benefits of the spill-off, if you like, or spin-off of this industry and helping people to become a better version of themselves and what they can do to make a difference in the rest of the world as a result of this amazing industry. Having said that, I put together a platform because I believe in paying forward. Well, the industry's blessed me financially beyond anything I've ever imagined, in my wildest dreams. So I put together a platform of free hints and tips for people in home-based business where this interview will end up. So if you go to www.michaelfirth.me, and I'll put it in the chat at the end of the interview, you can go there, you can subscribe for free. It'll never be charged for. It's just my way of giving back. There's 52 tips which will help you with every single aspect of growing a home-based business, from being a brand newbie to all the foundational skills to managing a small team or to managing teams in the hundreds of thousands. So with that in mind, that's where this platform or this interview will eventually be. So again, just a reminder, Anna Stewart, just want to let you know that you are the lucky winner from last week. And I noticed people are typing in the chat where they're from. Oh, we've even got Kirsty Spraggan on. Well, Kirsty, what a small world. Used to present with Kirsty back in the mortgage industry. Okay, so as I said, we're going to get back into the interview and what we're here to talk about today. So from a fresh start, welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Firth here. As some of you know, I do interviews every week, and this interview is probably going to be the most special interview that I've ever run in my life. And the reason I say it is often we're running an interview promoting a product or a service, or maybe we're doing a little bit of mentoring and training. But today, I just am so blessed that this industry of home-based business has blessed me financially, that I've seen a lot of people transform their lives and become a better version of themselves. And the journey for me in home-based business has been 30 years. Can you believe that? I was started at 5 years of age, 30 years. And, I personally can say I've grown, but I've watched people around me grow as well. And what I love is that the home-based business industry is not just about finance. It's about who can you become. Robert Kiyosaki says it's the best business school on the planet. And that's because you get to learn skills, but then you actually get to put them in the real world. And by doing, it's where the learning really increases, which is huge. So today I'm going to interview somebody who's been a friend of mine for now, I'd say at least 25 years. Right. So I was 15, that must mean. No, just joking. And this person has been a beautiful friend of mine for many years. She was working with me in a network marketing company decades ago and did not go on to stay in the industry. But that's irrelevant because of the positive spin-off of what has happened in the world as a result of her getting involved in the industry at some point. So with that in mind, please join me in welcoming one of my beautiful friends, Sharon Schofield, all the way from Cabanes, which is in country Victoria. So welcome, Shaz.
Thanks, Michael. What a pleasure to be here. And yeah, can't believe that it was, just a few years ago that we first met. But yeah, look at us now.
Yeah. Well, so Sharon and I worked together in network marketing, and did some mentoring with Sharon, and saw Sharon blossom and become an amazing person, and again all her skills, which we'll talk about today. But it led to her eventually joining, helping to create and found a chapter of a charity that makes a difference in the whole world, or in our Australian world, I should say, because of those skills. So first up, Shaz, please tell us a little bit about the organisation that you work with, Youth in Search. Who are they? What do they do? And what do they stand for?
I would be honoured to tell you. So I've been with Youth in Search, believe it or not, for over 20 years now. And I've never seen anything that holds a marker to Youth in Search. So we are Australia's leading peer-led youth organisation that has youth intervention for, we were established over nearly 39 years ago. But we've delivered trauma-informed lived experience through our young people, and we've supported young people across New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. I helped bring it to Victoria, as did you, but we'll get into that later, to overcome the trauma in their lives and to help with their mental wellbeing, therefore decreasing the likelihood of them, having substance abuse or suicidal or their risk-taking behaviours. We help young Australians living with mental health issues, and we support them with our clinicians and our peer support workers. We refer to these young people as the forgotten middle. People say that they're the missing middle, but we actually say they're the forgotten middle in the system. And usually these young people have experienced trauma through abuse, neglect, bullying or other experiences. But, rather than asking what's wrong with them, we ask them, what's happened to you? You see, behaviours come from emotions, and big emotions usually come from trauma. So if you can help them deal with their trauma, it helps them deal with their emotions, which then enables them to choose different behaviours and outcomes for these young people. So look, once they've completed the program, they can go on and become peer support workers. And I'm so proud to say that our current CEO, Stephen Lewin, actually came through the program as a participant and teenager himself. So what we stand for is ending youth suicide. It's the biggest killer of young people between the ages of 14 and 20, and it's bloody preventable. So that's what I stand for, and that's what we stand for. So, yeah.
We know it's funny because when I first heard about Youth in Search, I was sitting in an auditorium right beside Sharon, and she didn't know my childhood, which was sexual abuse, and I didn't know much about her background in that level of depth either. And all of a sudden, there's this young kid came on stage, talked about Youth in Search, talked about the difference it made for him, and I just had streams running down here, trying not to look to the side so anyone could see I was crying. And then I turned around, and both Shaz and I were blubbering messes. And at that point, I remember saying, we need to do something about this. Someone needs to get in there and help these guys. This is something that's really important. So what's your role with this within this amazing organisation that makes such a difference to so many young adults?
Yeah, well, I've just got a new role. So I only started in it yesterday. So my title is the Quality Manager Program and Community. And what that really comes from is, my expertise in being able to have relationships and networking and marketing. So, all that came from the skill set. I still use to this day things that, Michael taught me way back when. So, but what that really meant, I started with the organisation as a volunteer. I wanted to actually bring Youth in Search to Victoria. A bit like Michael said, somebody should do something about this. Rang the founders and they said it's not in Victoria, and we said, well, somebody should do it. And then looked in the mirror and thought, well, I'm somebody, and through the help of others. So I volunteered for 5 years, and then came on board doing lots of different things through the organisation, and actually until just last week was looking after our young people that have come through the program, gone into leadership, and helped train them, and used a lot of the tips that Michael had given me in doing that. But I'm really excited with this new role. It means that I'll be going out into the communities and helping people that aren't getting that traction with organisations or, with the young people. Because let's face it, everything we do is a transaction. If I'm asking somebody to pass me, the salt, they're either going to yes or no, So everything we do, it's about helping these young people see what's in it for them.
Beautiful. Actually, I know it's not in my questions here, but I remember we've discussed this. It's worthwhile for people understanding. You don't need to know how something's going to happen sometimes. You just need to have the desire, the goal, and then everything will work itself out. So how did the money get raised, and how did the whole of Youth in Search Victoria sort of get that light fuse lit?
Well, actually, and this was not a planted question. Michael's actually a big help with that. See, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Like, I like to tell people I'm little Shazza from Cabanes, and I helped bring, Youth in Search to Victoria. But how that came about was I had this great mate who worked in the banking industry. And I said, look, the founders are coming to Victoria, and I want to have a place to show them, what we could do. But I don't have any connections. And he said, well, I do. So we ended up with, I think at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the leading boardroom in Melbourne. It was a black tie service. And of course it was Michael that had a friend at the Macquarie Bank that actually helped us with that. So, from there, they went, wow, look at the connections this young person has. And well, I was younger back then. And then from there, it was about going around on Rotaries and Lions clubs and lots of different things. But also another catalyst in there was a very favourite person of both Michael and mine, although I think Michael can take more credit in the favouritism, is Michael's dad. And I can't say his name without saying his full name. So John Duncan Firth, the high country artist. He donated one of his beautiful portraits to us where we raised over $5,000, and that enabled us to take young people to Sydney because we needed to have young people who'd been to the program before so that we could run a program in Victoria. So, Michael and some others were involved in actually helping us found it back in here in Victoria. It was there years ago, but our passion and commitment, we had literally no idea what we were doing. But, when you're passionate about something, things just happen and people come and join you. And that's what happened. Mm.
And I want to make sure people don't think the question wasn't loaded about me, because in reality, I say to people, they go, I would love to make a difference, don't have any time. I didn't have time. I said, well, but I do have connections. So Shaz, I can help if I can get you connected to the right people. And so the real angels in that was Dave Easterbrook, my buddy, who was quite high up at Macquarie Home Loans, and Macquarie ended up putting that black tie boardroom together, which is amazing. Yeah. My dad, I didn't paint the painting. He was one of the most famous artists in Australia, and he painted a painting and gave it away because we all wanted to make a difference to this charity. So whether it's time or money or connections, you can make a difference. And that's the point. You probably heard that statement, when you think, I can't make a difference, someone's walking down the beach, picks up a starfish, throws it into the water, picks up another one, throws it in the water. Someone says, what are you doing? I'm saving starfish. And I'm like, there's millions of them. You won't make a difference. And he goes, made a difference to that one. Right? So we lived that story years ago. That's why I brought it up. So that's great. So that's the background, right? Now we worked together for 25 or over 25 years ago in network marketing. How did this sort of lead to this role? Like, what skill sets? Tell us a bit about that.
Wow. Where to start? And just adding on to what you said, Michael, it's really great to pay it forward, remind people. Sometimes I ring Michael out of the blue and I say, do you know what you created in the world today? And he's got no idea I'm ringing, and I'll tell him different things. But, I came to, sorry, I've forgotten the question because I was really excited with saying that line. You can tell this is live. Yeah.
Let me do it this way. I'll go in a different angle. So I've now trained mortgage brokers in the mortgage industry with exactly the same skill set that I learned in network marketing. So sometimes people think, network marketing, that's that thing, one of those things, right? But I trained mortgage brokers across the whole of Australia and New Zealand with exactly the same skill set that you need to be a good network marketer, which is funny because it's, sometimes they go, that industry, same skill set.
Yeah.
Having said that, it's the ripple effect of those skills in any industry that makes a difference. So let's talk about those skills. You mentioned when networking and meeting new people, walking into a building, looking for something of interest. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so, you don't have to be an expert in lots of topics, but, it's about picking something that you're in there, like don't jump straight in there and start talking about what you're there for, because that's about you. First of all, you need to make sure that you're there for them. And the only way that you do that is, the old thing, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, listen twice as much as you speak. Look for something around there that you've got a common point of interest with someone, because it's about relationship building and it's about rapport building. Like if you're going to go, and whether it's me working with a young person that we're going to have that journey for, a few years that we're together working with them, or whether I do one program with them, or whether it's about, when I was doing the network marketing, whether it's about, asking those people about coming and joining you. It's about, building that rapport and letting them show that people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. And that's really, just be genuine. Don't walk in there with all that stuff. So, I just find this is I always say that people are a no anyway until you ask them. But I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but very rarely do I get a no with the young people that I'm talking with, because I spend that time to build that rapport with them and show them. And I say to them, hey, you don't have to come. This is by choice and it's up to you. But we haven't been around for, 38 years because, people, they choose to come with us. So, it's just by allowing them that freedom. Yeah.
Interesting. So when I was 18, I read How to Influence and Influence People. For those people who are, a bit younger these days, read How to Influence and Influence People in the digital age. But it says the same thing as we're talking about. It doesn't matter. It's not unique to network marketing or mortgage broking or running a charity. And Sharon's even been in front of the Prime Minister. That's a whole other story.
Yes.
Right. So meeting people don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. Exactly what Shaz was saying. So having that skill of bonding with someone, you kind of know when someone is laughing and giggling with you at the start of a conversation, or you found a common ground. The rest is going to happen anyway. It's a yes if you build rapport first. Some people go straight into selling their product or the service or selling themselves or talking about themselves without actually doing exactly what you said. So be genuinely interested in another human being. Number one, that's great. Now, you mentioned helping the person in front of you. What does that mean?
So, if you listen to that person and what they're talking about and what they need, by helping them, in turn, you'll actually get what you desire, or, what it is that you're after. But if you focus solely on yourself, you'll come across that way. And I don't do that as a tool to do that. I'm genuinely know that the product that I have and what it will make the difference. I believe in what I do, because if you don't believe in what you do, they'll pick that up. So, believe in what you do, know the difference that it can make, and be really genuine with that person in front of you, and listen to what it is that they want. And if you help them get what it is that they want, then in turn, it will help you. Like if I think about the work that I'm doing with the young people, what they want is they want to be heard. They want to be loved. They want to be needed. They want to have hope. So, and how to deal with trauma. You'll never forget trauma, but it's how to deal with it. And it's not about, going to someone and they give you a whole heap of coping mechanisms, like cope with it, but live with it. It's about how do you deal with it. And it's the same when you're working with people. It's like, what is it that we can do to help them move forward? And in that turn, by people coming and joining our program, it helps with, unfortunately, funding, KPIs and all that stuff that we need. But more, I say to the people that work for us, if you help your young people, then the work is done. Take the focus off yourself.
Well, isn't it interesting? Because some of these skills, and people are hearing words that are coming out of your mouth that are exactly the same words they're trained in network marketing. And here we are talking about charity and making a difference. So I love it.
Yeah.
Now, one of those things we discussed was this skill. This skill is 100% what separates from someone who goes all the way in network marketing and someone who does not. But it's also something that's been huge for you. You mentioned BAM-FAM, booking a meeting from a meeting. Tell me about that.
So BAM-FAM is something that I still to this day use. And, you're thinking about that person in front of you, and it's like, there's that awkwardness of, you might have to ring someone or text someone or annoy someone or keep, that contact backwards and forwards, and it's, you keep missing each other. But if you can do BAM-FAM, book a meeting from a meeting, right there and then people know when's the next time that they're going to catch up with you. So it's out of their mind. And, when you're doing that, even if you've got a blank page in front of you, which suits you best, Monday or Wednesday? You're Wednesday. All right, 11 or 2. Look, I can only really do 12. Look, I can move some things around. I'll make that happen. It's making them feel important, and it's also it's reassuring for you because it's in your calendar, it's locked in. It's also reminding them and say, hey, still catching up tomorrow. Is everything fine? It's like, they remembered. So it takes away the time. So if I could only take one skill or one thing that I'd learnt from Michael, it would be Bam Fam. Like, I want all the others as well, but that one has certainly made a difference. Even with my managers, with meetings or different things like that, it's like, okay, when are we catching up next? It's the last thing that comes out of my mouth. So
that's beautiful. Our founder, Steve, who sold billions, says he's just the messenger. He's the FedEx guy. He's bringing to you something that was brought to him. So as much as Shaz says, I taught her Bam Fam, hey, stole it from someone else. I learned that myself. But they're handing that baton on to somebody else. In fact, do me a favor, guys, if you're watching this on any of the platforms right now, if any of these skills you've just heard would be relevant for you in your job and or your home-based business, type in yes in the chat. I'm really curious to see how many of you are getting this aha moments that is not unique to this industry.
And your relationships, like, friends and partners, 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Isn't it funny? This is a whole unscripted conversation, but I was listening to Steve the other day, and he was saying something online about listening to his mouth, and then his wife walked behind and he said, I always do that when I'm talking to my wife. And then he was like a bit humorous because he's like, no, I don't always, unfortunately, but I try my best. And the same thing happens with me and Liz. And she's like, well, you seem to be able to do it online. So you could use the same thing at home. Hey, a lot of people typing yes in the chat. So that just shows you. Yeah. So you mentioned chickens and eagles. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I actually even do a talk in my the peer-led leaders training about that. And what it is that, suddenly you see that you want things different in your life, and you realise that you want to make a step away from things. And, when everybody's in the chicken coop and you're all in the chicken coop together, everyone's, really happy, and they're happy that you're there with them. But the minute that you want to make a change and, you suddenly realize, oh, my God, I'm not a chicken. I'm actually an eagle. And you want to spread those wings and fly, the chickens will try and bring you back down because they want you to be with them. But, those true people that are around, people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Those lifetimers, they'll want the best for you. So whatever it is that you're doing, they'll support you. The people that want to pull you back down, wonder about why they're doing that.
Yeah,
what it is.
There's a concept called crabs in a bucket. It's probably come out since we mentor back then days, and that is if you put a whole bucket full of crabs, the one crab will try to throw out, the other one pulls it back in. That's like the people around you. Oh, you want to be, you're going to go out there and achieve everything. Oh, I wish I could do that. So my fear or jealousness or whatever it is, I'll pull you back in here so we can all stay in our shitty little jobs or whatever. Now, moving right on, you talked about it's always a no if you don't ask, right? And you also mentioned sometimes it's about timing. This is very relevant to the industry as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I like to think of it that it's a no anyway if you don't ask. But the other thing is, exactly, fear of the unknown. But, to me, it's like they're not actually saying no to me or no to the product. It might be no, it's not the right time. You don't know what's happened. You don't know if someone's just recently passed away, if they're dealing with an estate, if they've got some mental health issues going on themselves, they're buying a new house, which is really stressful, they're refinancing, whatever it could be. There might be a lot going on for them. And we find this sometimes with Youth in Search is that, a young person for our leaders training, for example, we can see this great potential with them, and we say, about doing leaders training, and they might say, oh, no, I'm doing year 12, but they'll come back the next year. If you keep that relationship warm and you're genuine about what you need, when the time is right for them, they'll either come back to you or when you touch base, they'll do that. Like I got a late message last night, really late at night, from a young person that was reaching out to me that I hadn't dealt with for years, and we're catching up next week, and they're coming back to the program and do stuff just because of that connection and that feeling that you give them. They know where home is. They know where they can come back to.
Yeah, right. Now, this is really interesting timing, because I didn't say it at the start of the interview, but my beautiful friend Shaz went through cancer and survived. And so the positivity of, Liz says, you're always so positive, right? And anyone who says they're positive 100% of the time is lying, right? But we're all, go through ebbs and flows with that. But I am more of a positive person than I used to be, because I've read a lot of books. If I could show you the shelf over there, and I know Shaz has too. So gratitude being very important as a cancer survivor. Let's talk about gratitude and how that's impacted your life.
Yeah, look, I think that you should never forget what your reason for getting out of bed is every day. Every day may not be a great day, but there'll be great things in it. And whether that's, speaking to a friend today or whatever it is. So, not every day is a great day, but there's something great in it. So look for those little things. And I just had this mindset that it was, I haven't got time. Am I allowed to say naughty words? I haven't got time for this shit. I need to. I just needed to get on and get through it. And, I don't know whether there's some luck or things that are in it, but my mindset. And another dear friend of ours gave me the mindset. I went and spoke to people that had been through it. Like, why do something alone? And I think this is really important, is that, I went and saw that friend of ours, Denise, and she said to me, she used to imagine that, the cancer cells were going out and going into the compost bin, or, down the toilet, or wherever they go. And just that mindset of like, it's out, it's going, and all that stuff. But I know this won't surprise Michael, but like, I ended up when I was down at Peter Mac in Melbourne, they'd end up with new people that were doing treatment. Somehow they ended up in the chair beside me, just because of my positivity. And I'd go around and I'd be getting other people drinks and something to do, acts of kindness and service. Because, if you don't focus on yourself, I said to them, I'll do anything that you tell me to, but don't let me spew. I can't be sick. And I asked for all the tips, and I don't know how I did it, but I wasn't actually sick through it. And I worked through. People said to me, take it easy, Shaz, you've done so much for us. Just take it easy. Like, please just take the time for you. And I rang my manager at 1:00 in the afternoon, and I said, I can't do this. That's what I said, it's taking my life away. I said, I'm not stupid. I'll do what I can. They said, Shaz, you should have given it a go. And I said, I did. I was going to ring you at 10:00. So, it's about that mindset. Whatever you do, sometimes the hills are too big, but even in then, my mum passed away with ovarian cancer. But in that, even helping mum realise, I said to mum one day, I said, mum, in 1 second of one day, you're going to pass away. But don't live like you're dead now. Let's live. That moment's going to come, but let's just live the life that we have. And that really helped. That really helped mum in her final moments.
Yeah, wow. And isn't it interesting? Two people can be in exactly the same situation, and one has a different mindset and a different outcome. And often it's what's going on between your ears, whether it's gratitude, whether it's positivity, all that sort of stuff. My mum used to say this. You remember my beautiful mum? She passed away as well.
Yes. Yep.
My mum used to say, thinking positive. She's the one who gave me my first book, Think and Grow Rich, at 18 years of age. Yep. But she actually said, thinking positive won't think. Yeah, well, she said thinking positively won't fix everything in your life, but it'll piss off your negative friends. So I thought, let's do it.
That's right, yeah.
So in wrapping up, if someone was inspired by this interview and wanted to know more about Youth in Search or make a donation, how would they do that?
Yeah, well, we have a website, all the W's. .youthinsearch.org.au, and I think Michael's got a link there that you can send it through. But if you don't have time and you'd like to make a difference, Youth in Search, I can vouch. I've been here for over 20 years. The money goes directly where it's needed. We have such a large volunteer base, which actually helps keep our expenses down. And we're mostly government funded and philanthropic, but government funding isn't always guaranteed, and these young people deserve the opportunities that maybe, you know, those who are that are grateful for what you have, just by making a difference to somebody else. And what it shows a young person is that somebody cares. Nobody pays to attend our program. We don't ask for a cent for the young people. We don't ask a cent for the young people that we're working with one-on-one, the peer workers. It's all provided for them because, you know what? The people who most need it don't have the funds to do it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? As we wrap up, guys, if you got a lot out of this interview, type in thank you to Sharon. And later on, what I'll do after I go, because I've got this interview on YouTube, LinkedIn, all over the place, I will put into the comments or the headline the link that you can go to so that you could actually go to this, which I brought up a second ago, and make a difference. As little as $65 from any individual could make a big difference to someone. And so I'll pop the link in there. And as I mentioned at the start, also, this is not an event that I'm promoting our current business model. I'm not even saying what it is because this is a recording not for that purpose. But for those of you that haven't done it, michaelfirth.me, I'll put that in the chat as well. That's where there is, 52 tips. This is about, I think you're tip number 15, an interview, where all the skills and everything that Shaz has learned that has helped her, that's now ripple affecting into so many kids, and how many suicides that this may have prevented. You don't understand what you've got in your hands, guys. When you're in the industry and you hand the baton to one person and they learn a new skill, maybe you don't even teach them. Maybe you introduce them to somebody in your upline in a home-based business and they teach them and they come out and become a better version of themselves. You lit the fuse. You made a difference. Just one person, that one starfish made a difference to that one. Look at the starfish here with Shaz and the difference it's made. Is there any last thoughts, Shaz?
I was just you just reminded me, like, because I've been doing this for so long, I've now actually got young people who are serving me in the bank that I worked with as a teenager, just, showing those opportunities, married, got their own children. And, I really am seeing the difference that we make. And I know that I've saved many lives because the young people tell me. And in fact, a young person that I actually helped has actually, I'm proud to say, has just taken over my role here at Youth in Search. So the pride that gives me, nobody believed in, some people believed in that young person, but I just met them and I said to them, you can be whatever you want to be. I said, the line's in the sand now, let's jump over it. I can't do it for you, but I can do it with you. And I think that's what, this is all about, is helping people. So thank you.
Beautiful. No, I want to thank you for taking the time. And I reached out to Sharon and said, would you be able to be open to being interviewed? Because she's always telling me the difference it made in the industry. And I said, I think a lot of people don't understand the huge positives of the ripple effect of making a difference in the world and learning new skills and everything we've talked about today. It's not just about money. So hopefully that reframes some people's brains on this amazing industry and the difference you can make. So thank you, Sharon.
It costs nothing to be kind. If everybody was kind, what a great world we'd have. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thanks so much.